as an independent artist or as an artist of any kind, एक ही dream होता है कि you want everyone to listen to the music. You want as many people as there can be to listen to the music. And when I was a kid, I learned it in the Hindustani classical way. You name the song, and hopefully, I can play it by the ear. But I always wanted to learn chords, and I had never learned like Western chords. So I kind of learned the chords during the lockdown by myself. I just like Googled chords, picked them up, learned karke, and I actually composed a song off of that. Like I said, Kahan Hai Tu is my first Hindi single. तो उसके पहले मैंने जो भी original music release किया था, everything was in English. And it was always a dream for me to put out something in Hindi because I obviously sing in not only English and Hindi but 5 languages.
Okay.
So at some stage I would love to release original music in every language.
Hello, guys, and welcome to a fresh new episode of Indie Artist Central, India's #1 podcast for independent artists. Today on this podcast, we have an extremely talented singer and songwriter. She has given us some beautiful songs like Kahan Hai Tu and Kaafi. Her recent single, Kahan Hai Tu, has just crossed over 1 lakh streams on Spotify. And she is also known as the Adele of Mumbai. So let's welcome Mallika Mehta. Welcome,
Hi,
Mallika.
thank you.
How are you?
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very well, thank you.
First of all, a huge congratulations for this achievement of over 1 lakh streams on Spotify for Kahan Hai Tu. How does it feel?
It feels unreal, as an independent artist or as an artist of any kind. एक ही dream होता है कि you want everyone to listen to the music. You want as many people as there can be to listen to the music. And the moment I saw the number increasing day by day, and then when I saw it reach 100,000 streams, it felt unreal. It just felt like that means that there are so many people that are listening to it. And I think that is one of the reasons why I will put out a lot more music. That kind of helps me do that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, कैसे शुरू हुआ ये सब? How did the musical journey begin?
Oh, okay. I have been singing since I was 4 or 5 years old. So, music mein to I started off with playing the keyboard first. My mom used to play the keyboard, and I would just sit next to her and see how she would play, and I would pick up the whole song. So I've always loved playing the keyboard, and because I could pick up the whole song at that age, I kind of learned how to play keyboard. लेकिन मैंने Hindustani classical style में learn किया था to play the keyboard. And I think as any other instrumentalist, when you're kind of playing, you start singing and you start humming along with that. So that's how it began. I was again around the same age, but I started kind of, participating in events and competitions and everything a couple of years after. And I think मैं वो बच्ची थी जो school में like in every competition, whether it's inter-school, inter-house, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, I'd be the first one who'd sing. I think that's pretty much how it began.
Great. Yeah. Is your family also sort of musical?
Not at all, actually. My mom is very, very interested. Like I said, she used to play the keyboard and she sings a little bit here and there. Like, no one has trained, no one, does this professionally. It's just me.
Okay. You are also known as the Adele of Mumbai. So tell us something about that. How did that came into being?
Okay, first of all, super humbled and grateful to have that title. I think this is around when when I released my first single, War Solo. So it was written and composed by me, and we released it. And there was this American magazine known as VLAB. So they interviewed me for that particular song. And my style of singing is a lot like Adele. I really adore her. She's my idol. So I also enjoy singing songs like her. And I used to put out a lot of covers back then of Adele, even today actually. But I put out, a lot of Adele music. And they just published the article saying the next Adele from Mumbai. It was a surprise, even to me. And the second I read that, I was like, this is one of the biggest titles to ever live up to, because number one, she's my idol, right? And then how the media is, they since that was out there, one after the other, every other article, they would pick it up. And then, it just became a thing, Also, I had uploaded a cover of Adele's song "Someone Like You,"
Mm-hmm.
and it got picked up and it got posted on this official Adele's covers website. I didn't know it was a thing until it was there. So yeah, I think these things just happened together, and then it kind of, yeah, just happened.
Wonderful. Awesome, awesome. Tell us something about your song "Kahan Hai Tu." So you wrote that song, right? You yourself wrote it.
Yes.
So what is
Yes.
the story behind it? How did that happen?
So it's a very interesting story. कहाँ है तू is my first Hindi single. तो उसके
Hmm.
पहले मैंने जो भी original music release किया था, everything was in English. And it was always a dream for me to put out something in Hindi because I obviously sing in not only English and Hindi, but five languages.
Okay.
So at some stage, I would love to release original music in every language. But yeah, this was somewhere around May end, and I was actually May 2020, and I
Hmm.
was set to release my other original single known as Way Too Long. So that was about to be released in months. And I was just by my keyboard. And by the way, before that, I had never released a song where I had also composed the music. So it was very differently done. Like this process of songwriting for Kahan Hai Tu was very, very different. I was just by my keyboard, and kabhi kabhi as an artist, ऐसा you just feel like okay, आज एक गाना लिखना है. Like I
Hmm.
didn't have a title, I didn't have a story, I didn't have a theme, I didn't have anything. It's just that I wanted to write something, and I was playing a lot of songs back then, jiske chords were very similar to Kahan Hai Tu. So I just
Hmm.
randomly started playing some chords, and then, in fact, I do have a rough draft of the song that I had released during the release of Kahan Hai Tu. Uski sub lines, the first draft was inversed, entirely inversed, because I was trying to obviously figure it out. But I wrote the song in 20 minutes, and I wrote it at midnight. And I think the only one concept that was, it was May, and like I said, the sort of barish, shuru hone wali thi, at least in Mumbai.
Hmm.
And that was a concept in my mind. So I started off with like barish hai baras rahi. And then for some reason that concept of Kahan Hai Tu was just stuck in my head. So that's why if you've heard the song, you will see that the
Yeah.
chorus is, it's repetitive. It's Kahan Hai Tu बहुत दिनों से ना दिखा, कहाँ है तू बहुत दिनों से है छिपा.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just that. And I think it got really well picked up and appreciated because I believe that a lot of people put the song under a long distance relationship playlist. So
Hmm.
लिखते वक्त I didn't realize that it was actually talking that way. But also since it was the lockdown, even if people were in the same city, it was still like a long distance relationship. So yeah, I think that's pretty much how Kahan Hai Tu happened.
Okay, that's pretty interesting because um, similar things have happened to me as well, where I just sit down और मैं ऐसे बैठ के कुछ कुछ दिमाग में आ जाता है लिखते लिखते आधे घंटे में 20 मिनट में गाना बन जाता है. It happens. Yeah.
I think songwriting is such a creative process कि if it's in you, if you're feeling it, वो आधे घंटे में बन जाएगा. And if you're not, and if you're forcefully doing it, वो 3 साल में नहीं बनेगा. So it's entirely, it's about the vibe and it's about what you're feeling at that point in time.
True, true. So, what other instruments do you play apart from piano?
No, that's the only instrument that I play.
Okay, and you have a good command over it, as I can understand from whatever you have said up till now.
So it's really funny because like I said, when I was a kid, I learned it in the Hindustani
Hmm.
classical way. You name the song and hopefully I can play it by the ear. If I've heard it, give me a
Hmm.
while and I will play the melody for you. But I always wanted to learn chords and I had never learned like Western chords.
Hmm.
So I kind of learned the chords during the lockdown by myself. I just like Google chords, pick them up, learn karke, and I actually composed a song off of that, like I said, Kahan Hai Tu. So I'm very, very proud of that one thing because I'm self-taught when it comes to chords.
Yeah. Personally, I've liked the music production of Kahan Hai Tu. The kind of instruments and the punch that you have used in the bass and everything. I love it. And I'm also a fan of yours, another song called Kaafi. And trust
Right.
me, it's always on my playlist. In most of the days, I go to bed listening to that song. It's so beautiful.
Thank you so much. That actually makes my day.
Yeah. Personally, what kind of music do you listen to and you admire, sort of?
Okay, that's a great question and a very confusing one for me because just like any other singer, I listen to all sorts of music, obviously, but I think number one, what is very important, not only when I'm making music, but when I'm listening also, is that it has to be meaningful. The lyrics need to
Hmm.
mean something. It can't just be some random thing. वो मैं सुन लूंगी just because it's there, but I wouldn't want to listen to it. I love slow music if I'm in that kind of mood. I love fast music if I'm in that kind of mood. Again, totally depends.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you're talking about like my go-to music, if at any point I want to listen to something, it would definitely either be something nice, slow, and romantic, or it would be something which is empowering. It would be something to do with like a Sia playlist or a Adele
Hmm.
playlist or a Sunidhi Chauhan playlist for all so
Hmm.
stuff like.
Yeah. So you have mentioned Sia and Sunidhi Chauhan and Adele. Apart from these, whom do you idolize for singing and songwriting?
Okay. I'm gonna answer both of them separately. वरना मेरे
Hmm.
answers overlap हो जाएंगे. So when you
Yeah.
say singing and production and music and composition, one of my biggest inspirations is Kishore Kumar ji. Unka music is beautiful. I mean, I don't have to say a single thing to prove that. Adi Burman as well. That's the kind of music I have grown up listening to.
Hmm.
My dad is a diehard fan of Kishore Kumar, so at any point in time, अगर घर पे म्यूजिक बजता था, बजता है till today. If he's the one who's playing music, it's either Kishore Kumar or he's playing my music.
Hmm.
And yeah, I love the way that he also was not trained, and he still created music which is unbelievable. Like trained people don't do something even half to as close as what he does. Again with Adi Burman, I mean, you yourself being a musician, I'm sure must have heard how he used to play around with creating sounds from things that were not even instruments, right?
Of course.
So I love the creativity there. They've been huge inspirations. Apart from that, when it comes to songwriting, I think one of my biggest inspirations is Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
She also feels what she writes. She talks about her life, and what you don't realize that most times is like when you're going through something, you feel like this is just me. When you put that out, you realize that there are lots and lots and lots of people who are feeling the exact same thing. It's just that
Hmm.
at that point in time you don't know about that. And when you write about something so truly, it does sound true, and people do connect, and it does help people heal and grow. And that's the reason why I think she's one of my biggest inspirations.
Hmm. Yeah. We would be really grateful if we can listen to any song of yours right now, if you are with your instrument or something.
I mean, I don't have my instrument on me, but
Yeah.
I can definitely do like an a cappella version of a little
Sure.
bit of Kahan Hai Tu, yeah.
Sure.
बारिशें बरस रही, ख्वाहिशें लबों पे आज, आंखों में है नमी, क्या है ये तेरा करार, कहाँ है तू, बहुत दिनों से है छिपा, कहाँ है तू, बहुत दिनों से ना दिखा. So yeah, that is Kahan Hai Tu, and a very sore throat, but yeah.
So soothing, yet so soothing.
Thank you so much.
So you write songs, you have written songs in English and in Hindi. And have you written in any other languages yet?
Not as yet. So the thing is, I'm a Gujarati, and I've been speaking in Gujarati at home since I was very little. It's I also sing in Gujarati apart from like original music, and I love it. I enjoy it. Also, my audience really enjoys it. So at some stage, yeah, I would definitely at least want to start off with either writing something or having some original music out in Gujarati for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, even I am a Gujarati and I love singing Gujarati music. The ones, the songs
Such
that have come
fun.
these days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And actually speaking, all the remakes that they have right now, I've known them and I've been singing them way before they were remakes. Like, if you
Hmm.
talk about Chugara, I used to love, and I've performed on Ranglo multiple times, way before,
Yeah.
Chugara was a thing. So yeah, I think I want to come up with something on those lines. And I also want to like sing something Punjabi at some stage. There's lots of plans. I just want to implement them soon.
Looking forward to all of them. And
Thank you.
yeah. So, from your experience of writing a song in English and in Hindi, what is the basic difference that you feel in the approach of songwriting?
I think it comes down to lyrics and the meaning of it, because construction of that is very, very different. Rhyming it. So for me, I'm a person. There are lots of songs jo rhyme nahi hote,
Hmm.
but I kind of. I'm also. I mean, I used to write poems and I used to write pieces as a child. So it's in me. I needed to sound like one.
Hmm.
And I think that when it comes to English, sometimes some words rhyme better than they do in Hindi.
Hmm.
हिंदी में ढूंढना पड़ता है English it's like that. And also, I mean, I think it depends on your command on the language. So I can speak both very, very well. Like,
Hmm.
obviously my command on English is far more than it is on Hindi. So I think that it comes down to just vocabulary. It comes down to you don't want to be very colloquial when you're writing a song. At the same time, you don't want to write words that a normal person will not understand.
Hmm.
When it comes to English, I don't think these are the problems as such. लेकिन हिंदी में वो problem थोड़ा सा आ जाता है. And but irrespective of all of that, I actually really enjoyed writing Kahan Hai Tu. And I during the lockdown, so one of my absolute favorite songs is Bekhayali from
Hmm.
Kabir Singh. And it's a song that I've sung already like 100 times or something
Hmm.
since the time it's released. But I still wanted to say a little more about the song, and I actually rewrote lyrics on that song, which received lots of love on Instagram. I love rewriting lyrics, and I believe you also wrote,
Yeah.
rewrote. Same. I absolutely love doing it. And in fact, I'm putting out a lot more on those lines super soon. Lekin, when I wrote those lyrics on Bekhali, I realized how. I think when you write Hindi lyrics, it makes you, and when it turns out the way you want it to, it makes you feel like a different person.
Hmm.
And I definitely say writing Hindi is a little harder than English, for sure.
Okay. You have also opened concerts for Kailash Kher and Shankar Ehsaan. So,
Yes.
tell us something about that. How did that happen?
Okay, both of them super different stories.
Hmm.
I'll tell you. So when I opened for Kailash Kher, I had just turned 19, and for me, it was like, I mean, at any age, but it was unreal. It was the biggest audience that I had sung for back then. So it was about like 6,000 people, and people literally looked like ants. Like I couldn't locate my parents at all, and they were not all that far, but I couldn't locate them at all.
Hmm.
I've idolized these singers since I was little,
Yeah.
and to be able to open for them, to be on their stage, to share their stage, it's just crazy. So how I got this opportunity was actually I have had two of my own concerts. They're known as Rhythm and Fusion. Both have
Hmm.
happened in Mumbai, and they were like solo concerts. So for my first concert Rhythm, I sang 53 songs in like 2 hours. I do a lot of mashups, and my second concert I did like 90 something songs. Um, so when for Rhythm we had a lot of people come in from the industry, and someone, I mean, it was also like an open concert, but someone kind of did hear me sing, and they approached me right after, and they said that there was this opportunity and they wanted me to open for
Hmm.
Kailash K. Listening to that, I still remember my reaction. My dad walks up to me and tells me this, and I'm just like, are you joking? Because like, what are you talking? Yeah, I think less than a month after I was opening for him. And I do remember getting off stage and he was getting onto stage because I was literally the act before him. And, he congratulated me, he appreciated my music, and he did tell me that he wanted to meet me backstage. For me, that was as good as like I could have fainted there. So it was absolutely unreal. And then comes Shankar, Ehsaan, and Loy. Their music has been like, I mean, all of my childhood. So also when they put out like Breathless, or any Breathless is like another
Yeah.
level, but any of the music that they've put out, always idolize them. And I actually got an opportunity to open for them. I also met them backstage again. And Ehsaan, so I specifically remember, told me that he really liked my music and he did know me as the Adele of Mumbai. And that itself was like, uh, yeah, I think these experiences are what you take to your grave, because when for an artist, any performance means the world. But
Hmm.
when it's in front of someone of that stature in the industry, they're like industry maestros, like no
Yeah.
one's above. So, and then when they actually genuinely appreciate your music, you kind of know what you're doing and why you're doing it. So great experiences.
Beautiful. You are an alumna of Berklee College of Music as well as Kellogg University. So how was that experience? Like music and marketing, both to and fro at the same time. How was that?
Um, I have been equally interested in music and marketing all my life. Marketing has also been super, super exciting for me. And yeah, I think I've been a business student even when it comes to like school and college. So I wanted to pursue both. And actually, even today, at some stage, I do want to do something where both my, interests would kind of come together. So I actually did 4 courses. I went to Berklee College of Music in 2016, where I did a very specific intensive course for my vocals and like stage performance and stuff like that. And then I went to Harvard the year after. So I actually did like marketing management with Harvard the year after that. And yeah, the year after that, I studied with Kellogg's. So that was like a very, again, intensive course. It was more into marketing. It was more about like analytics and AI and stuff like that.
Mm,
And then I went to New York, which was NYU, where I did my songwriting program. And they had actually selected 40 people from all around the world to do this particular course. I was
mm,
fortunate to be one of them. And yeah, it was unreal because I think we wrote like 12 songs in a span of like 12, 13 days. And I got to learn so much. Actually, 90% of what I learned from there is what I'm implying today. And I
mm,
wrote about three of my originals. I mean, three of my released originals, five of my originals in general after going there. And I've learned so much. I've learned how to
mm,
write songs in different ways. Because, when you don't learn songwriting, you feel like there's just one way to write a song, but
mm,
there are five other ways to write a song. So I think that really, really helped me. And yeah, like I said, it's been music, marketing. Some stage I want to like put them both together.
mm. So how does marketing complement music or music complement marketing?
It actually does a lot, like any other industry. See, marketing is a line that works for absolutely any industry.
Mm,
And when it comes to the marketing that I really enjoy is actually creative marketing.
mm,
So for me, I think number one, when it comes to concerts or when it comes to putting out a song or when it even comes to just managing a social media profile, marketing is very important. You have to put yourself out there, market yourself, market your craft, market what you're doing. Kyuki, see, at the end of the day, in just India, and I'm not even talking about the rest of the world, but just India, how many indie artists exist, or
mm,
just people who are putting out covers? Like every other page, there's somebody singing or dancing or putting out an art video. There has to be something that you do different that people are following you
mm.
and not the other person. And I think that is where marketing, plays a role. So yeah, I think it's all about the creative process.
Okay. From your experience of studying music both in India and abroad, what's the difference in music and musicalities?
Okay, I haven't studied music in India at all.
Okay, okay. So, from your experience of performing in India and having studied music abroad, what's the basic difference that you observed?
I think the first difference at all is that in India, it's majorly just about Indian, like Hindi music and regional music.
Mm,
If you ask me, since the last year and a half is when English music is actually being appreciated, or
mm,
people are open to it, or people are understanding what it is. A lot of people still think that English music is just Taylor Swift or rap. They don't realize
mm,
that there's so much beyond that. When it comes to US, I think, or abroad or any other country for that matter, I think that they do understand and realize that there is a lot more music just more than the little that they are putting out. And I feel like every time that I've been there, or whenever I was there for a program, whether it was NYU or Berkeley, they have been very supportive, and they've always asked me to put in a little bit of Indian music into whatever I was doing. So we've
mm,
always tried to either have like a little bit of sargam coming in the way, or thoda sa Hindi lyrics dal dete the, something that also is showing Indian culture.
mm.
But I think when it comes to performances, there is no other country like India. There is no other energetic country like India. I've had performances where I couldn't hear myself, and I think that is why you perform. So
Great, great. Yeah. Um, What are some of your fondest memories in the field of music?
Okay. I think we already covered like, Kailash, Kher and Shankar Ehsaan Law and all of that. Apart from that, there are two performances that I will always remember. One of them goes back to, I think, when I was 8 or 9 years old. So this was for my school concert, like my annual concert, and the school that I went to, really, really grateful because we used to have all the possible, events and competitions to encourage every single student, no matter what they did. And I was the opening act. I was playing the keyboard back then, so I was the opening act for the entire annual concert. And I remember I played the song "Ye Mera Dil." Um, as an 8 or 9 year old child, after playing the song, when you see the entire audience just cheer, and it was the first time that I actually experienced something like that. And I remember that backstage my parents were all like in tears, and they're like, oh my god. So yeah, I think that's one thing. And I could actually hear people go like once more and stuff like that. And like I'm saying, like today that's fine, but back then as a child who was like 8 or 9, it was one of the best things that could have ever happened. So that is one thing. And the second one is actually a year and a half ago. So in 2019, I was actually invited by IIM Indore for their annual cultural fest, and I was like the Bollywood artist who was, doing the Bollywood night that day. And I had a lot of mashups planned. Okay, so when it comes to mashups, like nobody knows what the next song is going to be.
Hmm.
Irrespective of that, they sang every song back. Okay, there was a point where I could not hear myself, and I got down into the audience, and I have videos of it where I have never enjoyed a performance so much. There were people around me; they were cheering my name, and it was like they had like the flashlight moment and everything possible. And yeah, I think that is also college students, right? So the level of
Yeah,
energy is unreal. So I think yeah, that is one performance that is always going to stay with me.
beautiful. Your songs have been featured in Times of India, Rolling Stone India, and Red FM. How did that happen, and how can an indie artist approach such media houses?
Okay, I'm really glad you actually asked because it's very unclear for people to approach media houses. Number one, it's extremely difficult. I'll be very, very honest. It's very, very difficult to approach any media artist house or anyone established enough. The thing is that even with me, I kept approaching them. I kept sending in emails. I kept dropping in DMs. Okay, I think one thing that actually, to be very, very honest, they need to see work, and I don't think that they're wrong at that. So if this is the very first song that you're putting out and you don't have any other history and maybe you're just putting out cover songs, it's going to be very hard for them to give you a feature because these are very reputed media houses.
Yeah.
So they just can't pick up any other artist and put it out there. I think that when you have established yourself to a point and when they do see that, okay, this is worth putting out there, that's the only time that they're going to put it out there. I think approaching people 5 years ago versus approaching people today has become so much easier. People are looking out for new talent. So I think the number one, the biggest thing is, yeah, keep putting out new music. Very, very important. Whether it's covers, whether it's original music, keep putting out new music, and keep approaching people. And I think it's a process. It's like a ongoing process. You put out music, you approach people, someone will feature you. You move forward. I think that's how it works. And
Mm.
even today, like a lot of people ask me that, okay, so you got featured by like Times of India and like by Red FM and stuff, but you're still doing like there are smaller magazines that even I have not heard of. So when they approach me, that's the first time that I actually hear of them. I still take up every interview. I still take
Mm.
up every possible feature that I can, because I feel that today it's come down to a point where by me saying something, it might help five other artists, and that is something that I want to do in the long run.
Mm.
And as much as you're out there, as much as you're sharing your work, people are going to hear it or see it. So I think it's just all about putting yourself out there, and you have to be in this 100%. Otherwise, don't be in it, because it doesn't work otherwise.
Yeah. So apart from music, what other interests or hobbies does Malika have?
you know Everyone, like most of my interviews, this question has been asked, and I sit back like and think, and I'm just like, okay, I love listening to music. I love playing the keyboard. I really like singing. And then I'm like, okay, but all this is just like music. Okay, I love reading. I'm not an voracious reader or anything, but I do read. I love swimming. that it's extremely therapeutic for me. And I think one of my hobbies that I've always been is just writing stuff. It's just anything to do with creativity. I think what kind of helps me a lot is actually meeting my friends, and I'm an only child, so I've my friends have always meant the world to me. So yeah, I think when it comes down to, I know it doesn't fall under hobbies, but I think that is one thing that does help me just get out of everything, be a better person. And yeah, I think I really need to find a better answer to like what are my hobbies, because it really comes down to music all the time. So like I think it's just that it's always music.
Yeah. Well, I think that your business mind, your marketing mind is also a sort of hobby that comes into play whenever you think about music. Am I right? Or is it
I
some?
think so. I think that actually makes a lot of sense because I'm always thinking about how I can make something different. So yeah, thank you. I did it just finding it so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, you're most welcome. As you said that you made a lot of songs and other things in lockdown. What else did you did in the entire lockdown phase?
I know the lockdown has not been great for most people, mentally, not for me as well, because everyone was going through so much. But it has been extremely creative and productive for me as an artist.
Hmm.
So like I told you, I learned chords. That was a good long process because I was trying to figure things out. And I got that time to do that. On a normal day, if life was going on, trust me, I wouldn't have had that time. So that was one thing. I wrote and released 3 original singles during the lockdown, which is not a part of one album. So number one, to put out that much music also was, very, very big for me. And I got a lot of time to actually work on different styles of music. Apart from that, like, you mean like just music, or you mean like in general?
In general, whatever you did.
Ooh, I cooked a lot. I learned how to cook a lot. My mom was behind me to cook a lot. I think at the beginning of the lockdown, I was really creative in terms of like painting and stuff like that, because I've been an art student when I was in school. So I think, yeah, I did a lot of that. And I think major part of the lockdown was building my profile on social media and was just getting as much music out there that I could have.
Yeah. You have been performing live at a lot of places, and it's been a long time. So, from your experience, can you tell us about how do you handle your mistakes during live performances?
Of course. Um, I think one of the biggest mistakes for an artist that kind of happened is fumbling in lyrics.
Hmm.
And I have seen a lot of, I wouldn't name any particular artist, but yes, I have seen a lot of bigger artists, like their videos that I look at and they fumble too. And I think it's absolutely okay, because, you're singing and performing so much and kabhi thoda idhar udhar ho jata hai. It can go one of two ways. See, at times, if it's a very big blunder, you can just stop and be like, okay, I messed up, I'm going to redo that. And that's fine. Most of the times, okay, I'm gonna be very honest, super candid with this, but like, yeah, if I do forget lyrics, I make up lyrics on the spot. Like, I literally do that. And I think that unless it's a very, very popular song, jiske lyrics sabko like by heart pata hai, people don't really realize, because it's not like you're singing absolute, like,
Yeah.
something that doesn't make sense. But yeah, I think it's okay. I think even if you do fumble, I think a lot of artists, and me inclusive, if you do forget lyrics, or if you're fumbling, we also hum through it. So
Yeah.
I think that's also fine. And yeah, I think it happens. It's cool. It really happens.
But coming up with lyrics on the spot with your own lyrics is also a talent in itself, right?
It's that pressure, okay? Like, you're sitting there and you're like, shit, I don't remember what's coming up next. So like, let me just make something. In fact, this reminds me of I actually was fortunate enough to get this TV interview in the US in 2019. So it was like a 1 hour TV live TV interview on TV Asia. And I mean, I've always been on the spot and like stage and all. Like, I'm not really afraid of the stage because I've been on it since I was like 4 or 5 years old. But I had a very long day because this was when I was studying at NYU. So I had a very, very long day. We had like rehearsals the whole time, and then we literally went for the interview at night. And I go there and we have this whole discussion and everything, and we're like, yeah, okay, cool, it's going to be live, it's going to start in 10 seconds. And the segment was going to start with me singing a song by Kishore Kumar. So I'm sitting there, and then the host, he goes like, okay, so 3, 2, 1, you're live. And I look at him and I'm like, but I don't remember the lyrics of the song I was going to sing. And in just that second I was live. So I actually switched the song. So I was gonna sing, I think Pyar Diya Na Hota, and I landed up singing Raat Kali or something. But yeah, I switched it because I knew that other song. And then after a break, I was like, okay, I need to like, and then I remember the lyrics. So I think that also happens. It's not that you actually forget, it's also sometimes that pressure. And I think that's when your creativity comes into play and you're like, okay, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Uh, what's the difference between performing in a studio and performing live, feel wise?
One of my favorite question. They are two different things. It's like two different worlds, and both have their own, different feel. They have their own vibe. If you ask me, what I prefer, any day live performances. Like there is no comparison there. Um, but the thing that you get to do when you're in a studio, because you obviously get to create layers and you get to create harmonies, and I love harmonizing. I've been this kid who likes to harmonize and create layers when I didn't know what harmonizing and creating layers were. So I think that is at its own place. When you're creating music in the studio, you're in your box. There's no one to disturb you. You're in your own zone. You're trying to imagine situations and get your actual tone out there. And when you're live, you're hopping like some child, trying to get that energy, trying to just encourage the crowd to cheer back. And they're two different things, and very, very different things. Yeah.
Yeah. So experimentation is possible in a studio, but probably not during a live performance.
I mean, hopefully not during a live performance. Like it happens. I think every artist does that. I've done that a lot myself. I do experiment, but it's not the best idea because sometimes you don't know what you're doing. And also there's a lot of like sound, issues and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of experimentation. There's a lot of creativity that is possible in a studio versus that what is possible live.
Yeah. Do you feel that artists have certain moral responsibility towards the society?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely believe so. At least as per my understanding, one thing that I would say is that as an artist, no matter where you belong from, you need to put out music, like I said earlier, you need to put out music that is meaningful. Um, Even if you don't put out music that's meaningful and say you're putting out a party number, that's fine. But this has been in the last year, it came up a lot in the news and stuff as well. But do not belittle anyone, no matter what it is. Not a single, like, not a person, not a country, not a religion, not anything. There's no need why music needs to get negative. In fact, music is that one thing in the world that is the most positive. So I think that there's absolutely no need to belittle something, and that is our biggest moral responsibility, that what you're putting out has to be pure and true. And never forget that there are millions of people listening to it. So you can't be putting something out that is wrong to put out there. And I think that's why, as an artist, not that I even write on topics like that. For me, it's majorly been like love and heartbreak and like freedom and stuff like that. But when you're writing about something, you need to get your music, like, you need to check it 5 times. I get it checked by my friends and my family, and I'm like, okay, I just hope that there is nothing that is coming across wrong. So I think that is one of our biggest moral responsibilities, at least as a singer songwriter.
Yeah. How do you feel about the concurrent rise of independent artists in India right now?
I'm really, really glad about it. I'm very happy. It's been like the last year, at least, for, I think it was just not me, but a lot of other artists who got very, very productive and creative during the lockdown, because I saw so many people put out new music. So many artists who had never put out original music started putting out original music in 2020. And there is like, it's the amount of talent that India has in any field. It's just like crazy. Like, I don't think anyone comes close. Then there's lots of talent in music as well, and I really do appreciate that people are taking that additional step and going to the studio and writing their own music and putting it out there. And then there are a lot of like media houses who've also started giving opportunities very specifically to indie artists, you inclusive, right? Like, this podcast is just for indie artists.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that is wonderful. And there is that rise. And if you ask me, there was another article that I just I was interviewed for, which was like the rise of indie artists in 2021. And I do believe that even 2021 is going to come with equal amount of music. And I think that that's great, that so many people are getting to tell their story.
Yeah. But even after that article stating that 2021 is going to be a great year for independent artists and all, there is still this financial aspect of it which bothers a lot of independent artists. How can an independent artist earn money out of this entire musical journey?
you know when you're talking about independent artists, we are referring to original music, right? There are
Yeah.
different ways how you can make music, make money. And I think that that is something that I myself am still figuring out, because the numbers are not, the numbers of your streams and the numbers of the amount that you're making is, it's negligible. It's something that, like I said, I'm still figuring out myself. But at the end of the day, I think your main goal as a singer songwriter should be that you're a singer songwriter. And I understand that, the financial aspect comes into play. But if that is what you're going to keep in mind while making music, it's not going to work out. Not every artist hits like a million streams in 2 months. It doesn't happen. You need to grow to reach there. It's a process. It's a vicious cycle. The more that you put in, when you put in so much music, you will get there. When you get there, you will make the money. It'll take care of your previous expenses. But at this stage, this is not the best, way forward. I think live performances are where you make a lot more money, versus, when you're an independent artist. Again, when it's a label involved, it's a different ballgame altogether.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, as an independent artist, my one advice would be, don't consider the money, just put out the music.
Okay. We have observed that you are quite active on Instagram.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that consistency, and how, in general, artists can use social media effectively for gaining a better reach?
So I think that when it comes to social media, obviously, like, I do have my Facebook profile and my Twitter and everything. But personally, I enjoy to Instagram the most, and that's why I'm most active on Instagram. Also, I personally handle my profile, so that's the reason why I put out maximum stuff on Instagram. I think that I've noticed how, if there is something going on and I don't have enough time to put out a lot of content on Instagram, which is very sad actually, but your engagement does go down.
Hmm.
And there are lots of articles that I've read and lots of seminars that I've attended, where I have come to realize that there has to be that consistency, and there has to be that growth. And even when you're posting, or when you're releasing new stuff, or when you're just interacting with your audience. So I think that, yeah, if you're trying to make it big on Instagram, definitely check out a lot of articles, because it does help you, your insight and your growth. And apart from that, it is hard. It is very hard to maintain profiles. And also, I'm that person who really does try to reply to every single DM that there is. I believe that if someone is taking out the time to appreciate you, or to tell you that they like your music, or that that you sing well, uh, you definitely should, remove 5 minutes and say thank you, because that's the only way you're growing. That's your audience. That's the person who's going to listen to you and recommend your music. And that's the reason why I think that I put in so much effort on Instagram versus any other social media. But yeah, like you asked, social media is very, very important to grow. There are different ways that work for different artists. Some people grow just very specifically on social media. Some work through like live gigs, whatever, the different ways. um, in today's day and age, when I think 90% of India is using social media, uh, I think this is the best way that you can get people to hear your music sitting at home. If you're in a particular city, someone's in a different country, they can still listen to your music. And I think that, yeah, when you put in that effort and you put out that content, it is a process. It is hard to get heard and to get noticed, but I think it is something that really does help.
Okay. How do you personally handle negative comments or hate comments that you encounter on social media?
So, I believe that everyone is entitled to their opinion. And I do understand that there are some people who might not prefer or might not like a particular video or a particular picture or a particular song that I've put out, and that's fine. I don't expect everyone to like my music. I would hope that everyone does, but I don't expect everyone to. The only one thing that I do feel is that hate comments are unnecessary. If you don't like someone, go ahead and unfollow them. Okay, you don't have to sit and send them a DM and tell them, whatever that you're telling them. And yeah, for me, I think I just don't reply. I simply just delete the DM or the comment, because comment not as such, because I don't really go through the hate comments. if I see something, I just let it be. I'm also that person who does reply to every single comment, like good comment. I do take out that
Mm.
time and reply to every comment. Same reason, someone's taking out the time, appreciating your work. I think that they deserve a thank you at the least. Um, so yeah, when it comes to DMs, I think I just delete them or I let them be. I just don't. I think that it's not important to sit and reply to something like that. And yeah, if someone is advising you to do better, fine. That depends person to person.
Mm.
But I mean, at least so far, I haven't received so many like nasty comments. I do follow a lot of pages where I have seen them share things where people just get very, very rude and mean. And I think that that's so unnecessary. Like, like I said, if you don't like something, just don't follow them. No one's asking you to, but you don't have to be rude. And in today's day and age, I think it's all about support and not putting people down. So,
Mm.
yeah, I think just ignore it. That's the only way out.
A last couple of questions before we wrap up the session.
Sure.
Uh, what is music for you?
Life, one simple word.
Okay, so short and sweet and yet so profound.
I have
Great.
nothing else to say. I mean, I could give you like this whole description,
Mm.
but it is life. It is all in all life.
Beautiful. From your experience of being an indie artist all these years, what are your top 5 tips that you would like to give that the struggling independent artist should consider?
Okay, number one, I would definitely say that yes, put out more music. No matter how many times you've heard this, and no matter how many times people are telling you this, this is legitimately the only way forward. It doesn't matter whether you're putting out covers. It doesn't matter whether you're doing collaborations, whether you're doing an original music. Just put out music. Just put out something.
Mm.
Just let people hear you. Let people hear your voice, your technique. I think number two is don't rush into making your first song so soon. Just because people are doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. I think every single person has their own journey. Every single person has to grow through it. Okay, so if you release your first single the first year that you're attempting music, it's not going to be good enough. And I'm saying this with experience because you will learn about life later on. So it also depends on what kind of collaboration you're doing. But if you're writing your own song,
Mm.
you learn how songwriting is not as simple as writing a poem. And you also learn how to write a song when you have sung 300,000 covers before that, because when
Mm.
you're subconsciously singing something else, you know the structure of a song. So don't rush into the process. It's going to happen. If it has to happen, it's going to happen. um, I think the third thing that I'd say is that, just be as organic as you can, because I know that a lot of artists, just to grow in short, terms of short spans of time, try to just, pay and get their views and likes and comments up there. The world knows that it's fake. Okay. I'm sorry to break the bubble, but like, if you have fake followers, it takes less than a second for anybody to tell that they are fake followers. And also, disclaimer, they kind of drop. So it's not a
Mm.
good idea. It's just a waste of money. I think for me, there have been times that I have had followers at a very stagnant level, that they would probably rise in 100 or 200. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, I can close my eyes and go to sleep and tell that yes, every single one of them are real people. So I think
Mm.
that that is very important for your personal sanity as well. um, I think also, just because you're a singer songwriter does not mean that you can't be a performer. They're two different things. I wouldn't say that every singer songwriter has to be a performer. There are a lot of singer songwriters who just want to like write and sing and just put out their song and don't want to perform live, and that's fine. But I think that performance is a different ball game, a different world. And if you are that person, if you do enjoy doing that, please do that. Try and get as many opportunities as you can. I know that the last 1.5 years is the worst time to put out the suggestion, but I mean that when things do get better and get back to normal, try and perform as much as you can. And what else can I say? Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is that do it because you love it, or don't do it at
Mm.
all. Because for me, this is one thing that I've always said: I am pursuing music because of my love and my passion for it, no other reason. It's not for the money, it's not for the fame. It's because I love it, and because I don't see a single day going without me listening or playing or singing music. Like it
Mm.
doesn't work for me like that. I am that person जिसका headphones या speaker या कुछ ना कुछ तो 24/7 चलता रहता है. Like whether I'm taking a bath, whether I'm eating food, music is somewhere around. And that's the reason why I wanted to make a career out of it, because I don't see it as any other way. So yeah, I think do it for the love of it or don't do it at all.
Great. What are some of the future projects coming your way this year?
So really hard for me to reveal anything very specifically right now. Like, yeah, I have, like I said, last year I did land up writing a lot of music. And I did release a couple of them, but some of them are still in the pipeline, and I'm working on the production for one of them. Another one is also very, very close to me because it's actually an inspiration from the kind of music that Taylor Swift has put out.
Oh,
So yeah, I think you can expect both English and Hindi music that is in the pipeline right now. But like I told you, Ki, I do want to put out some Gujarati music and some Punjabi music as well. So hopefully, if things work out, that should be out as well.
great, great. It was an amazing time talking to you, Malika, and we hope that we keep on listening more and more music from you for the upcoming year and for the years to come.
Thank you so much. And yes, hopefully, I'd love to put out more music for you guys.
Yeah. So that was the podcast, guys. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to hit the like button and please share it with your friends. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. And yes, don't forget to follow me and Malik on social media. The handles are right in front of you.